Trouble is that when you're wrinkled,
Use the word old.
people make assumptions about you.
Old shoe, old hat.
They think you're too old to cut the mustard.
Over the hill.
And I'm not.
The old has gotten that bad rap.
We have more people over 65 in this country than the entire population of Canada. So we have, in effect, a nation within a nation with all the diversity of any nation. What we need to think about is this growing diversification.
Those are the waveforms that are used.
This is the first major group that has grown up with positive images of aging. So their whole sense of expectations and demands in terms of what's possible in later life is profoundly different from earlier groups. Many people in later life feel for the first time they finally have time to pursue the interest they've long had. And basically the change that's occurred is that an older person has come to know who he or she is.
We inherit such a backlog of negative characteristics about aging. The negative images are based upon some very hard historical facts. The first people to be downsized back in the days of the dark satanic mills were older workers. They were not considered agile enough, smart enough, or flexible enough to continue working. Out of that came the perception of older people as being parasitic, dependent, incapable. They were marginalized.
And then when you're no longer able to produce as an adult, you just fall off the edge, as it were. You're not seen as a decent person. You become, at this point, somebody who's being warehoused as a redundant population.
There's a lot of misunderstanding about the percentage of older people who end up in an institutional setting defined specifically as a nursing home or hospital. Most people think that a very large percentage of older people are in those settings. But in fact, at any one point in time, it is at best 5%.
You're walking Nellie home, that old thing. My prayer to everybody and everything is that I walk and I talk. And
boy, do you.
And I can walk and I can talk. And when that happens, boy, I don't want to go to any rest home.
The whole image of aging is profoundly changing.
You do are amazed sometimes when you look in the mirror and see that old person looking out at you. Why, that's not me. That's not the way I feel. I feel so much younger.
I'm 70, and whatever that means. I mean, I'm doing all the things that I used to do 10, 15, 20 years ago.
It wasn't very long ago that we thought after age 65, life was over.
I recall my mother at 60 was, you know, in her house dress, sitting before the TV and kind of vegging. And I think she saw her life as very finite and that it should be over around 70, and by God, that's when she died. Quite frankly, I feel that I'm still at the tip of my own iceberg, that I haven't really done everything that is there for me to do. I, too, am trying to get rid of the stereotypic view that 60, oops, here it comes. Let's start cutting down, cutting back. I've got to get rid of that. And I work on it all the time, work on my head all the time, but always religiously and probably in a slightly obsessed way. I work out every morning. It's just part of what I do, and it works.
Get a lot of people who say, gee, I wish I could do that. I'd like to ride a bike. And I said, well, come on, let's go. Oh, I could never do that. And I feel sorry for people who have already made up their minds that it's not a possibility. Puisqu'on est à vélo, je me demande si on peut garer les vélos dans le garage pour la nuit. Ça, oui, d'accord, OK. I discovered that I was encouraging people to do things that they didn't think they could do all their lives. It was really a great reward. They came back to me and said, that bike tour, you know, I really didn't think I could do it. And then they acknowledged that how valuable the experience had been to them. What's the worst thing that could happen to you? That you didn't have a good time, you didn't like the people, that you had a flat tire, or you took a taxi? Big deal. It still would be an adventure. It's nice to be outside. It's nice to grub around in the dirt and have the rewards of your efforts.
And I find it very satisfying.
It's nice to build a fire in the middle of winter in your wood stove and you know you cut your own wood. It's kind of nice it's nice to feel self-sufficient. And maybe that's the reason I don't feel old. And I've never felt that there wasn't anything that I couldn't try to do. But it's kind of fun, thinking that you can do anything. I feel healthy when I exercise. I feel happy when I'm exercising. I could take the car. But I have this theory that if you don't keep going, you'll get stiff and you won't be able to and you won't want to and it becomes uncomfortable. So if you just keep yourself in shape and use it, you'll lose it. I mean, if you don't keep yourself in shape, you might lose it.
The idea that older people are set in their ways, there's nothing you can do, it's all downhill, it's all uphill, I guess, and there's nothing you can do to change that course is absolutely false.
She calls me in the morning, she says, I can't even walk. I said, well, you better walk. So she said... I call her every 2 hours of the day. She said, I'm so tired. I said, well, so am I. But I said, I have to keep on going just the same. She wouldn't be as well as she is now if I hadn't beaten her. Oh, you're so nice.
There are 17 units in the facility. On each floor, we've designed a program of strength training and endurance training for the needs of the residents on that unit. Older people tend to become very sedentary as they age, which causes their muscles to atrophy or become weakened. We have a gym, which we call Circle of Fitness, and we offer the program to the residents here at the center 3 days a week. What we've done is target their muscles of functioning, their ADL muscles, the ones that help them to walk or get up from a chair or get things out of a closet or put clothes on. We've been doing the research, and what we saw, and this goes in general as a rule, most people are appropriate for exercise.
Every night or so, I go for 200 or 300 push on the bicycle machine.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
That's pretty good.
That's very good.
Yeah, it takes about half an hour.
And some of my people have said to me that they feel so good physically that they want to do more. They go to more groups, they go on out trips, they feel comfortable going out with family members, that it's given them that self-confidence, that self-esteem that they've sort of lost along the way with their illness. I have a lot of 95-year-old people that have never exercised in their lives and decided, I want to do something now. I want to take charge. It's never too late for them to start exercising, to talk to their doctors. And most doctors now are saying that exercise is extremely beneficial. I'd say that most people, if you ask them, they want good quality. They don't want to live forever, but the time that they are living, I think that they want good quality of life. They want to be able to walk. They want to be able to get up from a chair. They want to be able to visit with family, feel comfortable, attend a few activities, and just be able to do a little bit for themselves. Exercise has given them that key.
The senior center is like a recreation center for the 55-plus population. I think we have it right here. I think that doing the social part of it, providing the services in addition to the recreation, is a good component. The variety of programs that we have range from organized athletics, like the softball and volleyball programs, to a little more loosely run programs, the ski trip. And that's supported by the local transportation district in the local ski area, who provide a discount on Tuesdays for seniors. So the bus comes up, we kind of count heads when we get on the bus.
We actually have 15. I just counted it, and because there was one couple put their
both on one. Okay.
line.
All right, great. We have somebody assigned to count heads at the end of the day and make sure we get everybody back. But once you get up there, you're free to downhill ski, cross-country, or snowshoe. And so that's more of a senior-led, self-initiated program. We hope to get enough ideas and leadership from people to get all of our programs in that kind of a format, where it's senior leading senior.
We seek to offer opportunities for folks to get involved. Wilbur Springer, the stained glass instructor, is a perfect example in leading a program, in organizing an effort.
And that was in 1979 when I first started down there. This class that I have now is my 90th class that I've had. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Meet a lot of people.
There is a pretty significant contribution here of older adults leading, creating, investing in the programs that are offered here.
And the reason the drum speaks so well to us because it's a companion of us. It's basically just stretched skin over a skeleton, which we are too.
I see people have a real interest in continuing learning. And so when we can pick programs that stimulate them as well as entertain them, we've got winners on our hands, and that's great.
We've been offering yoga and Tai Chi, which I think are more contemplative and fit that sort of meditation kind of program.
If you take these two fingers and place them in the center of your forehead, you can close the one nostril with the thumb, and you can close the other nostril with your ring finger. Remember, you're trying to get the spine up out of the ridge of the back. We're just going to be lying down, feet behind the sit bones. Wherever it is, you just have the beginning sensation of stretch on the back of the leg. One side may be very different. If you flex both feet, it helps bring the alignment in. And then just release that and come on down.
The Tai Chi, I think most people actually engage in because it really is about strengthening stability and fall prevention. And I think many physicians are encouraging older people to explore Tai Chi from that perspective.
Center like this here. Swing over there. There's a slightly adjustment in your right foot.
I am very proud of this facility's philosophy in making sure older adults are a part of the leadership. We probably see 3,000 to 4,000 different individuals here each year.
One of the reasons our senior center is so strong and so well received by so many people is that there are a variety of social outlets that people can have here.
what does happen here. And it's not about age, it's more about interest, desire, need, and if we don't have what they're interested or needing, this is a place they can help make that happen.
You can't live alone. You have to have a lot of friends, and you have to interact, and that's part of having fun.
But I think it would be more than just physical activity. I think people that are engaged in the arts. I have this friend, Peg Knowles, who's 86 years old, a beautiful artist, you probably know.
That's what keeps my wife living.
And Peg is the most dynamic, vital person, but she loves her art. And so it doesn't have to be physical activity. Whatever engages you and keeps you vital and interested in life, don't you think so?
I agree
For
with
us,
you.
it's physical activity.
I
but
agree
for
with you.
others,
You have to be looking forward to doing something beyond sitting around and watching a tube and certainly reading a book.
For me, it never been necessarily to jogging or whatever it is, because the kind of work I do, go up and down the scaffold and things, that's exercise already. I've been here at the cathedral almost, right now it's about 37 years I've been working at the cathedral, you know. So I came in America in 1961, so we were about 8, 9 carvers, all professionals, you know, older people. I was the young one those days, and now I became, they used to call me the boy. Now lately they start to call me the old man. So. What I do is what I've been doing all my life, stone carving, you know. Whatever is necessary to do in stone, some ornamental statues, you know, foliage, gargoyle, inscription, everything that needed to be done in stone, I'll do it. If you don't have your vitality, that you're 3/4 dead. But as long as you have motivation, something to reach out, you know, some energy in your life, I don't think nobody wants to stop the activities. I can say that everybody is an apprentice for all his life. He never learns, because always is something new to do.
People used to think that with aging, it was all over, it was a downhill course, that it was just a matter of time before you lose it, and that you couldn't learn anything new. You can't teach old dogs new tricks. Today we know all of those images are incorrect, that ongoing learning knows no endpoint in the life cycle, and the biggest factor for maintaining the skills or even enhancing them is ongoing challenge.
It's amazing what can come out when we challenge ourselves, and we don't want to limit ourselves. We want to present challenges and opportunities through the Society for Creative Aging. Ours is a community-based model. We're relying on the resources that exist within the community. We want to approach elders individually that are still functioning and vibrant in independent living, as well as our frail elders who are in the full range of facilities, be it assisted living or nursing home units. Those who have mental disabilities or physical handicaps, to us it's irrelevant. You know, we think it's available for everyone. We think that anybody is capable of doing a creative act. Creativity is within us all. It's not about the product, it's about the process and going through that and expressing themselves. Through intergenerational programming, we want to connect our youth to our elders so that they can look up and see life's lessons that are so important, and have the seniors share some of their wisdom with the young so that they feel still a part of society at large. The whole thing is not about being afraid And it's not about making mistakes. There is no right or wrong. Everyone has movement. And to whatever degree that you can move, you can participate. We have one dancer. She came and she said, well, you know, I have trouble with balance. We said, no problem. You know, you can do a lot of the dance movements from a chair. Well, that concept was totally foreign to everyone. How in the world can you move and dance from a chair? But it was amazing. She was able to go through and use her body to whatever limited range of motion she had and express herself. I think creativity, for those who have already been involved in their lives, we know that it does affect their life and their quality of life. And so even if someone is coming now in their 60s who have never done anything before in the past with creativity, we feel very, very certain that it will affect their life in a way that it will keep them vibrant, keep them alive, and stimulate the brain.
The basic neurobiological brain studies show that there's no endpoint in terms of mental stimulation affecting positive changes in the brain. Those positive changes continue independent of age.
I seem to be possessed with a need to create.
The time in 10 seconds will be exactly 8 o'clock. Stay tuned for Ragtime America.
This is an outlet for that need. Every week I need to create a program that will ultimately be broadcast.
He actually lived long enough and was popular during the time when recorded sound was beginning to make headway, and so he actually made some recordings, and we're going to listen to one right now. Here is Billy Merrill himself and Eskimo Shivers.
Here I am, 24 years later, still doing it. And it's fun, I enjoy it. Now that I'm retired with a whole lot more time on my hands, this has become a little more of a major focus. With the advent of the internet and all that, we have listeners anywhere and everywhere. You can pick it up anywhere you want to. People do listen, and that's kind of exciting.
Creative potential remains very strong throughout the life cycle, with numerous examples of people first tapping into their creative potential in the second half of life or in later life.
Yeah, ragtime, I guess, is a passion for me when you look at it that way. And once again, this need to create is coming through it. I first heard it back in the 1950s when my father brought home a record, and that got me hooked. And then in 1971, I was at a friend's home for dinner, and she was playing a record by Joshua Rifkin, playing Scott Joplin's Piano Rags in the background, and I was transfixed. And so I started collecting. I started learning on my own. Pretty soon after that, I started composing, and I've written almost 30 pieces. I think it was 1985 that I had an opportunity to record, and I've since recorded 4 records. I've written articles, I've played at festivals, sort of picked up a second career almost as an MC. I guess that's the definition of a passion. I need the music. I guess I need it.
I'm a painter. And I've been painting all my life, ever since 8 years old. Out of necessity at first, because I was bedridden and drew on anything. And somehow or other it just sort of got me started, and from there on I had to paint or I had to draw. And I've been doing it for 60 years. When you paint, you get so absorbed by what you're doing that everything else is not important. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you focused. I'm always out there looking for things to paint, or just seeing little different things that are meaning to me as an artist, very important. And so I'm always on high. I make the colors a little more colorful. I make the buildings a little less straight. I lose the rigidity that is in everyday life, and this is how I feel. Tear that wall down that keeps you from it, and keeps you from painting, and abandon yourself and just do it.
Do something. Do something. Don't just sit down and like a couch potato. In the beginning, I would like to be able to create a wave of interest in campaign finance reform.
She is an 89-year-old great-grandmother who is walking across the United States in support of getting big money out of politics.
The media and the Senate were saying that people back home don't care, and I knew that wasn't true, or at least I thought it wasn't true, and if it was true, that they'd better jolly well care, and that's why I walked. It's really overwhelming, the amount of attention that I'm getting. A little old lady who played Scrabble Monday mornings and went to a class for betterment on Tuesdays the rest of the time, taking life easy, reading and taking a walk in the afternoon and 1 in the morning, and suddenly become noticed by everyone. And now I have cars going by, stopping to shake hands with me or waving out the window, screaming, "Go, Granny, go." The whole thing is like a fairy story. I just don't believe it.
Over the history of civilization, older people have traditionally been the keepers of the culture. And I think it's been a factor of this wisdom that comes with aging, but also this courage to do the right thing.
We have no hope of solving this problem by asking for their courteous agreement to change their ways. We must change their ways for them.
And then sometimes you see this in the most important spheres that influence the course of society. When one looks back in terms of the original Mideast peace initiative and agreements, all of the key players in making those decisions were from their mid-60s to early 70s. It was as if they finally felt permission as a factor of where they were developmentally to try something which in the past may have been anathema or inconceivable. But I feel that their age gave them that courage and that feeling that they could try something that was very bold, was very different, and yet would make a profound impact on the culture.
I've often thought that the person who had the best take on the aging of our society was Maggie Kuhn, who started the Grey Panthers. Maggie Kuhn was a great woman. Her point of view was that older people are in a very privileged position to struggle for issues of justice. She said, it's up to us to be in the forefront of these struggles because we have less to lose, we have more time on our hands. We can see some of these issues far more clearly than the younger generation can.
Our consumption has been fouling the nest, and that is so clear. Well, that is not sustainable. And then the question of sustainability is what elders have been urging for all the time.
I think that so many people are involved in their own personal pleasure pursuits with all their sports and with consumption and with television, and that a life of simplicity
And activism, at first, doesn't seem to be as compelling to them. The main reason that I am a social justice advocate is because I believe that it's wrong to ever kill one innocent person, no matter how many other people are going to be helped.
Thank you for trying to push the boundaries.
I think that the security for the world and for the earth and for all of its people will come eventually through nonviolence. So that's my goal. And it's my goal as a nuclear activist also, which is about the worst violence that I can imagine. We need you. If you're on the fence and you're considering becoming an activist, that it's necessary. And if your heart goes in that direction, even though it's difficult and it goes against having fun and it goes against being able to spend your time in a leisurely way, join us, because we need every single one of you.
It is the fact that when you're out of the workforce and out of the rat race and out of the fast lane, you do begin to think about life in very different ways.
I wanted to be able to make a difference. I had a friend, a co-worker, that passed with breast cancer. And, you know, all those things kind of hit you. And then my family being wiped out with all the cancer. And that's how I got started. And I started raising money. And then, of course, when you do Relay for Life, you have a tent. And then you try to get people to come in and be part of your team. And it's just a wonderful thing. And the first year I did it, that was the year I raised about $5,000 or $6,000. I had people giving me as little as 50 cents, and I'll tell you, I like the 50 cents like I like the $200. It's not the amount, it's the end results that count. You tap people that you know, people that you don't know, because they'll tap somebody. Doing something for others. That's what gives you the strength and the momentum to keep on going. I'm not going to retire. I mean, you know, as long as you got breath, you should keep on working. You know, you should keep on at least using your mind, at least trying to do something that's going to give quality of life to somebody else, a better life for your children, for your grandchildren. You know, at least you can, I mean, why give up?
No, I'm not into retirement. All of my friends, my mother, everyone that's retired, they've died within 24 months, so I don't want to ever retire. I try to drywall for 40 hours a week. But on my horses, I'll spend 26 to 40 hours also. So it doesn't give you much time. You have to just keep going. All of my old friends were in the racehorse business. And so I really listened to them and I followed what they said. So what I've done, instead of going out and paying money for one, I've raised them and keep breeding up. And then I have the factory, I can make another one. I've got the mother and the father.
And there they go. Get it with a start for Shade. Come on, Shade.
I think everybody should have a good 2-year-old in the barn so that when they wake up in the morning, they got something to look forward to. And I think it's really important. This little mare is one of my foundation mares. I raised the mother and the father. And the first time we run her, she just outrun them unbelievable. And she's a pet. Seems like that when I go home from a hard day's work, I feel so much better than a day that I didn't have to work.
One of the things that I've found, again, contrary to so many stereotypes, is the very positive experience that retirement presents for a lot of people. Most people who weren't forced into retirement or didn't go into it reluctantly do very well in retirement.
I think I was 52 when I retired from the State Department of Education, and found since that official retirement a sort of whole new life in which I'm presently engaged. Community Servings is an AIDS organization, and it serves hot home-delivered meals to families living with AIDS. I got involved because it's very immediate in terms of one raises money for it. The money goes directly to buying food, to paying for the cook who cooks the food. It's delivered, people are fed, and hopefully lives are saved or at least sustained. The linchpin of Community Servings is volunteerism. So the staff itself is maybe 10 people who are paid. Everybody else, every special event that we run, much of the work that's done in the kitchen is done by volunteers. I also chair the capital campaign. Our goal is that we can create 1,000 meals a day that will be serving people. I've searched for those things that are interesting, expand me, and are equally important, allow me to contribute. The giving back is something that I never felt as a younger woman, because I was like, I have nothing to give back. I just want to take. And I'm almost ashamed to say how much fun it's been, because that's something I hadn't expected. It's been very sustaining and fulfilling for me.
One of the biggest things that happens in retirement is sort of analogous to what I've described as a patron in the arts. Basically, a patron allows somebody to be able to spend more time not in meeting their everyday needs for sustenance, but to pursue other activities. And retirement, for many people, fortunately, creates that opportunity. It gives them more free time than they've ever had before, which again is contrary to one of the stereotypes about aging, about running out of time.
Once retirement comes, you ought to do things that you wanted to do in a long time, enjoy life. You've gotten there, you've earned it, so go ahead and do it. It's interesting, the people in that group. We have a retired district judge, one of the top lawyers who's certainly old enough to be retired but has chosen not to. 2 retired school teachers. We have a man who, before he retired, ran a nursery business, plants and trees and so on. One of the guys that plays with us is still working. He's working for the city's housing department. Got a retired veterinarian. It's quite a diverse group. They're all darn fine musicians too, and we just have such a good time. I think that after doing that for a certain period of time, there's probably going to be a void that opens, like, I need to be doing something else, and what is that something else I should be doing? And my answer to that is, you should be volunteering. We happened to be in Guatemala, sitting next to a guy. He said, "What do you do?" And I said, "I'm a dentist." "Oh, well, we have this clinic that we put together some time ago, and we'd love to have you come down and volunteer at this clinic." And I thought, well, maybe this is the opportunity that I've perhaps been waiting for. So I said yes. And I went down and spent a month in the lowland jungles of Guatemala working in this clinic. And it was such a rewarding experience that I have been back 2 other times to do that. And I've got another one scheduled, a 4th visit scheduled in 2005. When we let it be known that we're going to be visiting a certain village, there's a long line of people that stand there waiting to see us when we come. And it's very gratifying to know that for an awful lot of these people, I am relieving pain that they've had to suffer with for a long time.
Older people are going to contribute a very great deal. And they will contribute not insignificantly in those areas called volunteerism, the tremendous amount of voluntary work that's done in our society that nobody recognizes from an economic point of view, in hospitals, in schools, in social work of various kinds. A lot of older people now care for older people, as in various volunteer capacities, and all of that is work.
The prescription pet program is composed of about 35 dogs and their owners, and they visit the children twice a month.
Here, I'll give you a treat to give him.
I knew about the program, and I knew that when I retired as a physical therapist from University Hospital that I wanted to do this.
Rachel said she would take care of Aaron all day.
So I got in the program very early after it had started. And I've had 3 different dogs in the program. He'll be your friend forever if you give him a treat.
Mira, se está comiendo una pastilla.
Yay. Es su amigo. Su amigo. Mi español es poquito.
Sí.
I guess the reason that I think we should all help each other, I think that's what life's all about.
The closer you bring it, the closer. There he goes. He ain't gonna bite you, love.
No, he won't hurt you.
He's just looking for his treat.
You want to feel his soft ears?
They're nice and soft.
It's
Feel
soft.
like your stuffed animals, huh?
You see a lot of kids who have dogs at home and they're missing them, they're homesick. And many times they're crying and they'll quit, and many times they'll be in pain and they forget about it. The dog comes in.
Oh,
it's going to put her to sleep.
Yeah.
You want to feel his fuzzy foot?
Oh, he has a nice fuzzy feet.
Oh, boy. It's not just the children, it's everybody. I guess and I guess the reason that it's so great is that it's unconditional love.
There you go.
I just think you have to give back, and you have to keep trying. You have to keep looking around for people who need help, especially now. There's so many. It makes me really feel like I'm doing something to, pay back or whatever. People are always talking about paying back, but giving something back to the world that helped me, or something I've done all my life, is trying to do this, and it's a continuation, and I just feel like it's very fulfilling.
I was employed by Habitat about 4 years ago as a construction manager. I had taught school for 15 years and then had my own construction business for 20. It just was perfect for me. I love to teach, and I had the experience of construction. We typically build about 6 to 8 a year, depends on the year.
We start at the beginning and build from the bottom up.
The city donates building permits for 5, and that's a large amount of money.
It was a good volunteer job, so work here a couple days a week.
I worked for a long time and never had time to kind of give back to the community like I wanted, and now I have a chance to do that.
I didn't get Joey, and I think we're just going to have to put one in there and then...
I love working with my hands, and then, of course, the end result of helping people, helping the younger people that really need the help to get going in the world nowadays.
Well, I was an old contractor, carpenter for 30 years, yes. I usually am here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, usually.
I started about 3.5 years ago, and then Kay started coming not too long after I did.
We come 2 days a week for sure, usually 3. We just have enjoyed learning how to do all parts of it, but we really like to do the finish work and the trim work. And act first and think later.
It's kind of nice to be able to work together most of the time. Just to get out and do things with your hands and have time to do it right.
I'm handy, but I haven't done a lot of this before, so this is also a great learning experience for me. I get to learn a lot of new little things I get to take home and work in my own house too. I didn't know that one little trick.
You can even make mistakes and they laugh at you.
Dick taught us many skills. I've learned the same lesson many times on some of these things, but I don't know, it's just fun to see the house come together, and it's fun to see the people that are going to live in the house come in and react to it, and how excited they are.
The people that we build the houses for, they're very industrious and they're very appreciative of the things they get. We really get to know them because they work right here alongside us a lot of the time.
It's fun. We have good people that work with us, and we just enjoy everything we do.
When I spend a good day and a loving day with people, I am not only grabbing the day, but I'm investing this day in a series of good social investments.
Our parent organization for our little small group is an organization which encompasses the entire state of Colorado. We are also affiliated with a national organization, ABC Quilts, which is at-risk babies crib quilts. And it was originally started in 1988 by a couple of ladies who were challenged by a physician to do something about the AIDS babies and how they were neglected in hospitals and about the fear of AIDS. 2 years ago, our North group made 299 quilts. We just missed our 300 mark goal, but last year we made 306. The greatest thing about this is not only that we are able to practice our skills as quilters, but the fellowship among the quilters is really tremendous. Bunch of ladies anywhere, we have one in her 30s, one in her 40s, and everybody else is 50 on up. And we even have one who's 82 we had a birthday party for not too long ago.
That once.
Where we are. I have, I think I forgot the panel. I was matching material, and I think I left it. Well, that won't do you any good.
You need some scissors?
Working with these little brightly colored pieces of cloth gives us a lift emotionally, and it also helps with the babies that they love these bright colors as well, and it really enjoy them, and it perks them up, and you can see the smiles on their faces. It's not just a blankie. It's something a lot more special than that. This is a labor of love. Somebody has put their hand to picking out the fabrics and working with their sewing machine and creating something that is beautiful that can stay with this child forever.
Grandparents are now the principal childminders in our society, which is an enormous contribution because it frees mothers and fathers to go out and work full time.
Seniors Incorporated's basic mission is to improve the quality of life as we age. Because our senior population is living longer, we need to utilize that resource in a good way. Because of their volunteering in their community, the benefits are extraordinary. We have seniors that have what I call re-energized their lives.
You get a life when you start working here, you know what I mean? Because I'm not the type to sit home anyhow. What are you going to do? When you're retired, sit home? Get old? Sure, we're all getting old, but why push it?
The foster grandparent program, which is to work with kids one-on-one in schools, daycare centers, Head Start programs, any situation that deals working with young people.
No, Wednesday, Wednesday, right here. Your Tuesday, Wednesday. Thank you, Jasmine. Wash your hands, please. This gives me something to do. I look forward. Like I come from 8:30 until 4, and I'm here all day long and participate in everything the children do.
That is their Cheerios.
I'm usually in building trades by nature, and that's my work. But in the winter, it's very slow. So somebody told me about Head Start, and I believe I'm a workaholic, so I had to do something. If there was some more grandparents, we could help these schools be something. We can help the teachers because they have a big load. The teachers have a big load.
Mr. Jose, push me! He's doing the camera!
Foster grandparents are the extra eyes, ears, and hands for teachers in the classroom. We have a foster grandparent that is, say, bilingual in Spanish and English, working with a young person that is monolingual.
We had a couple of children last year, one from Venezuela, and they didn't speak a word of English, okay? Pretty soon they were speaking better English than the other children. So I turned around, I'd forget at times, I'd say, hey, vamos pa acá, let's go over here. Miss Dolly, I don't understand Spanish. I told her, well, you're gonna learn. It was just so cute. But the children, when they left here, they were speaking English fluently. They could write their names, anything you might ask them. So this is really a privilege for the child because they're speaking two languages. In all, life is very good, but it's what we make of our life. It's what we make of it. It's what we contribute. And I feel I'm contributing something out of my own life to this child that needs me.
We have learned that there is a whole stage of life out there filled with possibilities and whole new experiences that are interesting and wonderful that you don't necessarily have access to at a younger age.
Life has quite a different quality. It's still a pleasure to talk with people, and it's still interesting to read what's going on. I still can vote, and I still support legislators that I believe are doing a good job.
What a time for new beginnings, not beset by so many of the distractions of younger days. And this is the time, baby, to really enjoy.
I think it's a combination of things that give you this long a life and this good a life.
And there's always something that can be done no matter how old you are. If your hands still work, then you can do certain kinds of things. If your head still works, there are other things that you can do. You just keep living.
What can you do with the time that you have with your life? What can you discover? The age of discovery does not stop.
I think it's important to pursue interests that require a high degree of energy, and I think it's important to pursue interests that require very little mobility or very little physical energy. And the significance of that is if later on you have a change in your physical health status where you have less mobility, not everything that you've developed requires high energy, high mobility.
I met an old man who was 100 years old, and I said to him, he was at this conference, and I said to him, what is your secret now? This was many years ago. He said, I have 4 projects. One I've just started, one I've just finished, 2 on the board. And as I have to keep going because those projects must be finished. But he said, and when I get one done, I put another one on. And that's how I stay young.
The short of it is in the past, people saw older people as, in many ways, a growing national burden. Today, what we're seeing is old people as a growing national resource.
I will tell you one more thing, and that is the surprising fact that you will never lose any battle. You may doubt that, but when you are my age and you look back, you will understand. Just by taking a stand, you change the world in several places.